Hello and welcome back. This is video number 4, and we're going to talk about an overview of the Smart One-Time Offer and why they convert. So at this point in time, you will understand why the traditional way of creating a one-time offer is not converting. So now it's time to show you how to set up smart one-time offers or one-time offers that do convert. Now here, what we want to do is start brainstorming how you can implement this strategy into your own sales funnel to ensure that you give your customers what they want. So here's the part where you actually put yourselves in their shoes. But this process is going to make your life a lot easier. I wish I knew this when I was setting up one-time offers back in the day. And then when I figured this out, I was like, wow, I was actually doing it the hard way. So referring back to the example in the previous video, taxes. The way a smart one-time offer works is to ensure that it is actually related to your original offer. Now you might be thinking, well, that's a no-brainer. I do that all the time, or that should be easy. But really, let's just take this as an example. So to recap, if the front-end offer is how to save money on taxes, and we established previously that it was business taxes. So how to save money on business taxes. And if the one-time offer was, let's say, a manual review by a CPA of your taxes and what you could potentially be leaving on the table, then yes, they are more likely to say, yes, I want that. Because with the front-end offer, they bought that because they know that they may be losing money on the table and they're not saving money. So they bought the course on how to save money on taxes. So having a review of that would be good, right? That would be related. Now, a lot of times, how do you get to that point? Well, there are many different directions or angles and different types of one-time offers that you can create. So what I want to do is just give you some examples. We're not going to focus too much on this, but I'm going to give you some examples so that way you can kind of begin to brainstorm what you might want to do. Now, if people are buying the initial offer, the question is, will they pay more to have it done for them, or would they rather do it themselves? So a lot of times you'll find people, they'll buy your course or they'll buy your digital product or they'll buy your service, but they're either on one side or one end. They'll either want to do it themselves or they want it done for you. It's really hard to know. So a lot of times if you can offer a mixture of those in your funnel, you'll actually get higher conversions, especially if you know that the person buying it has a limited amount of time and at the end of the day, they would rather you do it for them. So knowing this answer to this question can really help you create one-time offers that actually sell like hotcakes. Now, while we could talk about different angles all day, like I said earlier, let's get back to the smart one-time offer. So how do you ensure that people who go through your lead magnet buy your front-end offer and then buy the majority of your one-time offers? Now, this is simple. What we need to do is we need to work backwards. And while I know this doesn't really make a lot of sense right now, it will. So like I said earlier, keep an open mind. Do not assume anything. Do not assume or bring in any type of preconceived notions. Just kick that out right now. So I'm going to show you literally how to hack your funnel conversions by working backwards. So what we need to do is we need to start with your biggest, best one-time offer, meaning what you love only your best buyers to buy. Out of 1,000 buyers, you might only have like 400 buyers buy everything, or you might only have 200 buyers buy everything. But I want you to think it closely. What do you want those 200 or those premium buyers to buy, right? So what is your biggest, baddest, best one-time offer? So I want you to start with that first. Or you could say, what is the most expensive one-time offer? The one all the way at the very end. Start with that first. Whether it's one-time offer 3, 4, or even 5, you want to start there. So first off, think, how many one-time offers do you need to solve the problem that the person has, and then start right there. So what is the ultimate solution essentially? It could be more expensive, it could be the solution or whatever. Write that down right now. Pause this video and write that down, all right? So hopefully by now you have written that down, and I want to give you some examples here. So maybe if you haven't written that down yet, that's totally fine. If hopefully by giving you examples, it will help you kind of get an idea there. So let's say, for example, that you are a tax professional and you want to offer consulting for a high-end fee. So you could jot that down. You could also think about doing it for them. Like I said, done for you services, whatever that looks like. So it could be DIY, it could be done for you services, whatever could be the biggest, baddest, last one-time offer. So let's say, for example, that we have 4 one-time offers, and we'll start with one-time offer number 4. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, okay, so one-time offer 4 in this case is the person offering consulting a high-end fee. So what we need to do is from there, you need to move one step back to one-time offer number 3. So basically one step backwards and think, all right, if someone cannot afford one-time offer number 4, what is the next best thing? In other words, what we like to do is we like to take a piece of that and move backwards. So what is the next best thing? Perhaps group consulting. So maybe group consulting could be the one-time offer number 3, and one-time offer number 4, maybe that's one-on-one personal consulting. So number 4 is one-on-one, number 3 is group consulting, and then move backwards. What could be one-time offer number 2? Well, let's take a piece of that and move backwards. But you see, by taking a piece and piece and piece and move backwards, what you're doing is you're creating a related, congruent one-time offer or funnel. So what's the next best thing if people cannot afford group consulting? Well, maybe you take audio recordings from the group consulting. You know, obviously nothing is better than live group consulting, but having those audio recordings is just as good. So maybe that will be one-time offer number 2. Then we take a step back to one-time offer number 1, and we can take a piece of audio recording and perhaps turn it into a book. So they're still getting a piece of that group consulting or that personal consulting, but it's actually not consulting anymore. It's just a book or a course kind of thing. You get the point? You're basically taking a piece, moving back, taking a piece, moving back, taking a piece, moving back. And then you can even move that into your front end offer as well. And you can do the same with your lead magnet. So if you do that, guess what? Whoever consumes your lead magnet, you're going to attract a very specific person. They're going to definitely want the front end offer because it's a larger piece, of the lead magnet. And the one-time offer is a larger piece than the front end offer. Then the one-time offer number 2 is a larger piece than number 1 one-time offer. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry. We'll map it out visually so that you can see it in the next video. So like I said, it'll make more sense in video number 5, but that should kind of get your mind going a little bit. So that's it. Let's move on to video number 5, and let me map it out so you can visually see it so that it can really stick in your minds. Welcome to video number 5. We're going to talk about how to create a funnel with smart one-time offers. So when it comes to creating a funnel with smart one-time offers, it's super easy to do as long as you've gone through videos 1 through 4. If you've skipped around, it's not really going to make sense. So if you've done that, make sure that you go in order so that we can break things down. So in this video, we're going to be mapping out a generic funnel with smart one-time offers by using a flowchart visual map so that you can see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So let's do that now. Okay, so now that you understand kind of a breakdown of the smart OTO and the smart funnel essentially, let's actually map it out. So as you can see here, if we start from the back and move back, so let's say, for example, in that example, we have OTO4. So OTO4 was one-on-one consulting. So one-on-one consulting. Now, obviously, if you have a specific product, then we'll actually give you an actual real-life example later down the road. But for now, this is a very general kind of view. So one-on-one consultant, and then what you do, like I said earlier, is you move back. So you copy that, and essentially the OTO3 is going to be a portion of the one-on-one consulting. So like I said, group consulting. What is the next best thing, right? So if somebody can't afford one-on-one consulting, group consulting is the next best thing. So then we move back again. So OTO2. And if somebody cannot afford group consulting, perhaps something, a portion of that. So we take a piece, we move back. We take a piece, we move back. Well, in that case, you can have this perhaps as the downsell. So that could be OTO4D as in downsell. And then this could actually be OTO3. So as you can see here, one thing is when I discussed the funnel earlier, as you begin to map things out, you realize that certain things should actually be a downsell or an upsell or in different places. And that's why mapping out is so crucial. So OTO3 could be something like audio recordings, and that could be that. You know, we could have something else. It doesn't have to be that. So it could be audio recordings. So that way, if somebody buys the audio recordings, they're thinking, okay, this is all I can afford. I'm going to stop here. But then you got your premium buyers that will be like, okay, you know what? I want to get one-on-one consulting, right? And then you might have people who say, oh, I can't afford that. And then they're offered this and they're thinking, well, you know, I can't afford one-on-one consulting, but I can't afford group consulting, right? So we got audio recordings, and then maybe over here we have an ebook based on that audio recordings, but not as much. So they're getting double over here, obviously, right? So the next thing we have is OTO2. So we're moving backwards here. So I like to use arrows for progression, but obviously later on we're going to have to switch the arrows because we're going to move the other direction, right? So this is just to help me build it out initially. So OTO1, this could be a piece of that. So maybe this could be secret articles or something like that. So it's a piece of that, a piece of that, and then of course we have the front end offer. So the front end offer could be, so we'll do FE for front end offer, and that could be a video course. So after you have finished this, you want to switch the arrows back to the other way. So we would switch the arrows back this way. And that's it. Hello and welcome to video number 6. This is Smart OTO Real Example and in relation to products. So now that we've covered how to create a funnel and what it looks like to map it out, let's talk about some real life examples. Now, because products and services can drastically be different, what we want to do is we want to ensure that you understand how to implement this inside of your business. So in this particular video, we're going to talk about how to create smart one-time offers for products. So if you have a service, you don't have a product, but if you have a mixture of products and services, I would recommend that you watch this one and the next. But if you do not have products and you're just purely 100% a service-based business, then I would rather you skip this video and go to the next, all right? But you might learn a few things by watching this video before watching the next. So let's head over to the flowchart system again, and let's find a product and break it down in relation to products. So before we map out a product funnel, what I want to say is that you do not really need to have products throughout your funnel, meaning you could have a mixture of different varieties of products, of information products to better educate people about your product and more. So if you're selling, let's say, for example, even an e-commerce physical product, you could use a training course or an ebook or a report as a lead magnet or even a front-end offer to get people more educated about the product that you are selling. So just keep that in mind, that every single thing in your product funnel does not need to be a product. So if you're doing an e-commerce product, the front-end offer, the one-time offer, and all that does not have to be an e-commerce product. It can be, or you could do the lead magnet as a video training, but you have to really think about how much does somebody need to be educated about my product before they decide to actually buy my product. So you really need to figure out, okay, is that going to be in the lead magnet phase, or is that going to be in the actual front end offer? So what I'm saying is, don't feel like you have to stick with one specific type of one-time offer over and over again throughout your whole funnel. So for example, we'll talk about service-based businesses in the future, but you can actually mix and match between a product and a service solely based upon what you think will help somebody become more educated about your product. In addition to that, how will that bring them closer to actually wanting to buy the biggest, baddest one-time offer? All right. So let's do a product here, and let's just go ahead and do that. Let's do an e-commerce product. Let's say that we are selling scuba gear, and the OTO, let's do an OTO3 for the sake of simplicity. So scuba gear is going to be basically everything, like all in one package kind of thing. All in one package. So this is kind of the everything, you get everything in the scuba gear package to help you stay below surface for a longer period of time. So if that's the unique selling proposition of your product, then maybe down the line here, you could have a lead magnet that talks about something like how to stay below water for a longer amount of time. So we haven't really figured out, is that going to be our lead magnet? Is that going to be our front end offer or anything like that? What I want you to do is just splat that on the paper. So we've got OTO3, and I would ask you, in addition to that, if we move one step backward or even two steps backwards, what do we think would be there? So since the scuba gear is an all-in-one package, maybe we focus on the scuba mask. So if somebody buys a scuba mask, you could say, hey, you buy the scuba mask, but I'm going to offer you the scuba gear for like half off or something. So let's go here and let's do for simplicity, let's do OTO2 since it's a product. So we'll do this as OTO1, and then maybe a front end offer. So this could be a lead magnet, it could be a front end offer, but let's say, for example, we want to make a course to show people how to stay below water for a longer amount of time, or whatever unique selling proposition that fulfills this or essentially solves somebody's problem, right? So they go from here, they're looking to stay below water for a longer amount of time, and then maybe you present them after that. You say, okay, I've trained you, I've educated you, and then here's a scuba mask that will help you do just that. And then after they buy that, you could say, we normally sell the scuba gear all-in-one package for, such and such price, but you're going to get 50% off if you buy it right now, kind of thing. So they're already in the frame of mind, thanks to this part here, that they are well educated. They bought the course so that they're well educated. And because you educated them, you have essentially gained their trust. And because they trust you, they're more likely to buy your funnel. So that's something that you could do for an e-commerce type product. Now, let's say it's a information product. So let's say that we won't do a service, and we can do a service in the next video. But let's say, for example, that this is a product. So maybe we could do scuba diving training, advanced training, and then we could do scuba diving. So OTO2 is the biggest, baddest bonus that we can offer, and that's the advanced training. So maybe OTO1 could be scuba diving, not basic training, but maybe intermediate training. And then maybe at that point, the front end offer could be scuba diving basic training. Could be the front end offer. So think about it for a second. I move backwards, and this is more advanced, sort of less advanced, and a lot more less advanced. So now when we move back from here forward, it's going to be somebody comes in, they're interested in learning basic training, and they're still new. So maybe you provide them with intermediate training. You say, okay, we normally offer this at $200, but today you'll get access to it for $100. So after you complete your basic training, you'll have access to this immediately afterwards, and then so on and so forth. So that's what I would do for a product, but you kind of get the gist here. This is fairly simple as long as you start with this as the top level and then move down. So in this case, I kind of use the skill level from top, middle, bottom, so that when we go from here to here, it's a progression upwards, right? So you could use that method. You could use the method I taught you before. You could use any method, but hopefully that gives you a better idea on how to essentially create your OTO funnel. Okay, so this is video number 7, and we're going to talk about similar to what we talked about in the previous video, but we're going to map out a product funnel that is just for services. So let's head on over to the flow chart and let's find a service and break it down. Okay, so let's use the previous example with the scuba diving, but instead of a product or a course or information product or something like that, let's talk about a service. So let's say, for example, that you offer a scuba diving service or a training. So you really need to figure out what category does that fit in. Does it fit in where you're training somebody? Does it fit in maybe tourism or entertainment? You need to figure that out first and write that down. So in this case, we could do scuba diving one-on-one consulting. So that could be a one-on-one personal training kind of thing. And let's delete these two here. And let's say this will be OTO3. And with the service-based business, you could do that, and then you could do a downsell. So somebody could not afford that. They could have something like a scuba diving group consulting, and that can be OTO3. We'll call that downsell. So a downsell is basically if somebody says no to this, they are then presented with this, right? So that's basically how it works. Now, how can we best ultimately sell this OTO3 here? Well, the best way to sell a service could be through a product, an information product, an ebook, a video course, something like that. So if your ultimate goal is to get them here, then similarly as the previous funnel, you could use a video course. So that could be a scuba diving course, we'll say video course. And then if we take a snippet of the course over here, this could be a scuba diving port. And then we can move back again over here. And this could be something like a scuba diving checklist, like a diagnostic test or something. So let's see, OTO 3, 2, 1, front end offer. So I'm going to actually do just OTO 2 because in this case we could solve their problems via this. So we're going to do OTO 1 or OTO 1. We're going to do, actually, instead of a report, we're going to do an ebook. And that can be front end. And that could be anything you want. You could do something like the top 10 reasons why blah, blah, blah. You fail in scuba diving. And then you could have the done for you service over here that talks about how to succeed or how to avoid these failures or whatever. So this could be of course, the lead magnet, which is the freebie that you give away for free in exchange for somebody's email address so that you can communicate with them over and over again. So that can be it for a service-based business. So essentially somebody wants you to take them by the hand and walk them through the process. So another service-based business could be done for you. I mean, essentially everything that is service-based business is done for you. You're doing it for them. Even a plumber. I've actually purchased from a plumber before, and they have had one-time offers as well. But just keep in mind, you don't want to, with service-based business, you want to avoid forcing people. For example, I think the plumber that helped us actually said, okay, if you buy this, you can buy this extra package into this like monthly gold club or something and get a 10% discount. And it didn't really make a lot of sense because what he was doing was he was doing bump sales. He wasn't actually doing one-time offers or anything like that. So in certain service-based businesses, you really have to think, is this really right for me or not? Because some things like plumbing, people may not be open to that. But generally, things like even scuba diving or information products, people tend to be more open on that. So I hope that gives you a better view of the different ways to go ahead and create a funnel for a service-based business. So remember, mix and match. If you can best educate the person before they get to your service, before they get to your product, that is a more ideal situation. Hello and welcome to video number 8, and just want to say congrats. At this point in time, you have reached the end of this video course. So to ensure that you use everything you have learned, we're going to talk about shopping cart systems that will actually help you achieve this goal and set up the one-time offers properly via automated systems so that whenever somebody buys your front-end offer, they will be automatically presented with the OTO 1 or OTO 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, how many one-time offers that you have. Now, there are many out there, but here are just to name a few. There's jvzoo.com, there's zaxa.com, and there's infusionsoft.com. I will say that Infusionsoft is a lot more complex, so zaxa.com typically is a good shopping cart system. jvzoo.com as well. Now, in order for this to stay true, you need a shopping cart that can do one-time offers that appear after the previous purchase. We're not talking about one-time offers that are added to the front-end initial offer. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence and make sure that this is the type that they are compatible with, because some shopping carts will actually say that, but in reality, it's a very different one-time offer. So that way it helps you kind of differentiate between the two. So I hope this helps, and just make sure that you go take action, map out your own sales funnel, find the right system that is for you, and go out there and conquer.